Hello, I'm Gordon Lang, editor of CameraLabs.com. I'd like to give you a brief video tour around the Panasonic Lumix DMC-FX30. Here it is, the FX30. It's a 7.2 megapixel compact camera with a 3.6 times optical zoom. The range is equivalent from 28 to 100 mm, so that takes you from pretty respectable wide angle to fairly useful telephoto. And we've got some coverage examples of that coming up in just a moment. Now this camera is in fact the successor to the Lumix FX07, and by shaving a couple of millimeters off this body, it's now officially, at the time we made this video anyway, the slimmest compact camera with a 28mm equivalent wide angle lens on it. And it is certainly very, very compact. This is the sort of camera that you could slip quite discreetly into a pocket without it bulging out. So if you're after something that's very slim but does have a wide angle coverage, then the FX30 should be a model that you'd be looking at. And the build quality is really good as well. Like other Panasonic compacts, the metal body feels very, very solid, and it's just very, very smart as well, the design. If you have a look at the top here, it's got quite a minimal approach to controls. There's not a lot to get confused about here. There's an on-off switch, the shutter release button in the zoom rocker here, and the actual mode selection dial here that's recessed within the body. Around the back of the camera there's a 2.5-inch screen that's bright and clear and allows you to operate the features that I'm going to show you right now. We're outside with the Panasonic FX30, so the first thing to do is to switch it on and see how quickly it can power up. That's about 1.3 seconds and you're ready for action. Now let's have a look at the optical zoom range. This camera has a 3.6 times optical zoom, that's equivalent from 28 to 100 mm. This is it zoomed out to 28 mm, giving really pretty decent wide angle coverage. Now I'll zoom it all the way in to the equivalent of 100 mm, and you can see that while it doesn't quite obviously get as close as Panasonic super zoom models, it's still quite reasonable range to have in practice. Now at this point, if this were a super zoom, I'd be saying, oh, you can really see that I'm wobbling here quite a lot. Now, even when you zoomed into an equivalent of 100 mm, that wobble is not quite so obvious. But this camera still has image stabilization. It's still very useful to have, especially under poorer light conditions. So let's switch it on and see what effect it has. Now, you can do this by actually firing up the drop-down menu by pressing the function button here. So I'm going to hold it in, and here you'll see the OIS mode in the top left corner, and I'm going to switch it to mode 1, which is active all the time. And you'll see here that it certainly has stopped some of those wobbles a little bit. And it also leads us neatly to talk more about this drop down menu that you saw a moment ago. So I'm going to press that function button in again and show you some of the things that you can change with it. Now this is a feature that's on most Panasonic compacts, and it's an absolutely great way to have quick and easy access to various settings. So we've seen on the left hand side the stabilization. The next option there is the drive mode. Then you've got the different white balance options here, different ISO options, that's the sensitivity going all the way up to 1250, although there is a 3200 equivalent in the high sensitivity scene preset. There's the resolution there, and here's the quality setting in terms of compression. There isn't a raw mode on this, but then you wouldn't really expect it on a camera like that. But having this drop down menu is a really handy way of getting quick and easy access to these settings. Of course, like most compacts, you can overlay various graphics on the screen. If I press the display button just to the right of the screen, you can see that we can overlay some shooting information. Press it again and you get a live histogram showing a range of tones in the image. Press it once more, you get a 3x3 grid, which is handy for aligning your image or applying the rule of thirds. Now I want to show you something in playback mode, and as I turn the mode dial, you'll see that there's actually a virtual mode dial appear on the screen. So here's a photo that we took earlier, and again you've got some shooting information there in the histogram. If I turn the zoom dial to the left and zoom out, we can show a series of thumbnails, first 9 and then 25. And you can also show a calendar view that actually shows you what days you're taking pictures on. Now one of the neat things you can do with the FX30 involves motion picture. Now here's a video that I filmed earlier, and if I just press the down button it'll start playing. Now that's somebody jumping on a snowboard, and it might be quite neat to analyse that action, say if you want to improve your technique. And the FX30 allows you to do that by actually zooming out when you've paused a film clip, and this shows you a selection of images from that video. And you can actually choose the period between them. At the moment we're at 30 frames per second, but we can change that to 15, 10 or even 5 frames per second, which might be handy to show the jump from beginning to end. Then what you can do is just press the shutter release button down, and it will actually save all these 9 pictures as one single photo at a resolution of about 2 megapixels. So we say yes, and it is now saved that picture. So that's a really handy way to analyse some action from a video, whether you're jumping on a snowboard or perhaps wanting to refine your golf swing. There's no denying the Panasonic FX30 is a really nice compact camera to carry around with you. It's certainly very, very slim. The 22mm thickness there will mean that it'll slip into most pockets unseen. The build quality is also really good. As you saw a moment ago, the menus allow you to quickly and easily change a lot of settings, and the 28mm wide-angle equivalent lens is very, very useful to have in practice, whether you're outside photographing a big landscape or indoors simply trying to squeeze everybody into a big group shot. But there are downsides, and for the FX30, like most compact cameras, it regards image quality, especially at higher sensitivities. In fact, we won't beat about the bush here, it affects cameras like this even at the slowest 100 ISO sensitivity. If you're the kind of person who likes opening up your photos on your computer and zooming in to 100% to have a look at the detail, you're going to be disappointed with a camera like this, because you will notice noise speckles, especially in shadow areas, even at 100 ISO. Now, this isn't a problem that's exclusive to the FX30. This is a problem that faces most compact digital cameras these days, and if you really don't like it, you should be looking at getting a digital SLR instead. However, if you don't zoom into your pictures to 100% on your computer screen, or you're happier making smaller prints, then this is a really nice camera to have. The image quality won't disappoint you, so long as, again, you don't zoom in too far using your computer. So, if you're after a very slim compact camera with a 28mm wide-angle lens, the FX30 should certainly be high on your list. To see how it compares to the best compact cameras that are available today, head on over to www.cameralabs.com. In our full review, you'll see results from this camera compared to the best models that are out there, and also some more sample images, so you can judge for yourself whether that noise is going to be an issue or not.